Hello everyone and welcome to a really awesome game that was suggested to me by a lot of you. As soon as it basically ended a few moments ago. It was played on Chessbase India's channel on their Checkmate COVID stream, where Viswanathan Anand is held a simultaneous exhibition against some of India's celebrities. And in this game he faced Nikhil Kamath. He's India's youngest billionaire, who is a chess player himself, but he did not play chess for a very long time. Last time he played chess was when he was 12, and he was born in 1987, so he's 34 years old now. And he's been out of chess for a very long time. So I didn't know what to expect from this game, but was I surprised? It not only features a really weird opening sequence, it's one of the rarest moves played in chess ever. I don't think we've ever seen a game on this channel that featured such a move. You'll see what I'm talking about. So yeah, let's just enjoy the game. And for those of you who don't know who this gentleman is, you can Google him. But basically, he is the founder of Zeroda. So it's India's largest stock brokerage company, he is obviously very successful in it since he's India's youngest billionaire. But that means nothing if you can't play chess. So let's see how he does against former world champion Viswanathan Anand. So Anand has the white pieces, as one most often does when he holds a simultaneous exhibition, and he opens with knight to f3. And also thank you to Ketan Agrawal for sending me not only the suggestion. I've received this suggestion many times, but also this very nice photo of Nikhil Kamath and some background on him. So here Vishy opens with knight to f3. He opens with the Reti opening, and like I said, the weirdest opening, maybe not the weirdest. He plays e5. This is called the Ross Gambit. I have no idea why. If any of you guys know, do share in the comment section so we can all enjoy it. But I was unsuccessful in locating this information, and it's a really weird move. Like, there are other weird moves you can play, like you can play like h6, a6. You can play a5. You can play h5. But all of those moves kind of make sense. e5 is giving up a pawn. You will gain some development for it, but it's so it's incredible that such a move can even be played, and it's really remarkable that he plays it against none other than former world champion Viswanathan Anand. So here knight captures on e5. Anand says thank you for the pawn. We have d6, chasing the knight back, knight to f3, and now knight to c6. So already you can see that black is up in development, but by very little, and he's already down one pawn. And there is one game in the database that reached this position where g3 was played, but here we have d4 by Anand, and it is now already, as of move 4, that we have a completely new game. So let's see how the game continues. Knight to f6, just nicely continuing development, and now d5, grabbing more space in the center, hoping for a knight to e5. Then, you can just continue development, or you can even trade further. So here, knight to e5 and knight to c3. Anand is not worried about knight captures here, even though you can double up pawns. It's not a problem. You will simply, develop your bishop, faster castle, and you will have a safe king while also being up a pawn. So here, after knight to c3, we have bishop to e7 and e4 now. So cementing his advantage here on d5. We have castles, and now comes bishop to e2. So as you can see, white caught up in development, and black doesn't have all that much to show for. He has a nice knight on e5, but that's only there until Anand decides otherwise. So here he plays c6. It's a very principled move. As Anand grabbed more space in the center, he maybe overextended a little bit. It's a nice idea to undermine the center. So here Anand castles, and now c captures on d5. We have e captures on d5, and now just a6. Here, Kamath wants to play b5, maybe fianchetto the light square bishop. He has to develop his queen side somehow. We have rook to e1, not really worried about bishop to g4, so maybe h3 would be a useless move. You already have a bishop on e2, there's really no point. And b5 now, so grabbing more space here. At some point you might be interested in dislodging this knight with b4. So a3, Anand prevents this, and now h6. So just preventing the development of white's pieces on g5. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is a simultaneous exhibition, so Anand is playing against multiple people here. Can't remember if I've mentioned that. But yeah, here we have knight to d4. You could continue by just developing, let's say, bishop to f4, and goes knight to d4. He wants to bring this knight to c6, and then you either have a monster knight on c6, or black might trade, and then you will have a very nice pass pawn on c6. So having a nice pass pawn on c6, being up a pawn, it's pretty much a winning game. So here, bishop to d7, adding another defender to this c6 square, and now bishop to f4. So if Anand wants, he can simply eliminate one of the defenders and then bring the knight to c6. So rook to c8, adding another defender to the c6 square, and now bishop to f3. Again, Anand says, okay, you will move this knight at some point, and I will have my knight on c6. So here we have queen to b6, and this is just a... Well, it's a very impressive move because the e5 square is attacked twice. So can Anand just grab another pawn here? And the answer is yes. For example, bishop captures, d captures, and now he could play rook captures on e5, but maybe grabbing the second pawn will be a bit too risky, because here, although, like I said, white is up 2 pawns, you could maybe run into something like bishop to d6, attacking the rook. Then you might see bishop to c5 with a double attack on the knight. The knight will not be able to move because there's will be a double attack on the f2 pawn. So yeah, although it's playable, white is better, maybe just a bit too risky. So instead, after d captures on e5, we have knight to c6 right away, and now as the e7 bishop is under attack, so just bishop to c5. Getting that bishop out of the way, and now comes, well, queen to e2. You could also capture this, but after captures and captures, then white just achieved what white wanted. He has a nice pass pawn here on c6, and you don't have all that much to show for. So instead, like I said, after knight c6, we have bishop to c5 with a double attack, not on that pawn, but on this one, and now queen to e2. Anand defends it, and now rook f to e8. So here, white is still up a pawn, but black is playing very, very active chess, and white will still have to prove that that this position can be won. So here we have knight captures on e5, and this is a very interesting idea. Problem is, if you play something like b4, it kind of makes sense because you want to get rid of this bishop here. Then bishop d4 just wins the game for black. As the knight is under attack, you can't move it because then bishop captures, rook happens. And of course, if you play something like queen to d3 to defend it, well, then just bishop captures, queen captures, and e4, and that's it. The bishop now has to move, and after the bishop moves, knight captures on d5. We remove the defender of the knight on c6 while attacking the queen, and now, well, white's position just falls apart. So it's a very, very tricky position. So here, knight captures on e5. This is what Anand decides to play. And now comes, now comes rook captures on e5. It's a very interesting idea to give up this knight like this, as then, well, the bishop will capture on f2. But I guess Anand just didn't want to play it safe. He could like bring the queen back, just queen to f1, queen to d2, and get the queen away from this nasty e file. But he decided to play actively. Knight captures on e5, rook captures on e5, so he wins the exchange, but he will lose the f2 pawn, and then black can win the exchange back. So queen captures on e5, bishop captures on f2 with check, and now the problem is, well, a little bit of a problem. The king has to go to f1. If you go to h1, then you run into rook to e8, and now after the queen moves, it's just game over for white. So here you would have to give up the queen, but you don't really have compensation for that. So instead, after bishop captures on f2, we have king to f1. You have to play this, otherwise you're lost. And now black just regains material. Bishop captures on e1. We have queen captures on e1, and now b4. So playing in really great style. And black is playing this game incredibly well. Ever since that move 1, where he gave up a pawn for, I'm not going to say no reason, because there's always a reason, but he just gave up a pawn on move 1 to the former world champion. So here b4, opening up some lines for the black queen. We have a captures, queen captures, now also putting pressure on the b2 pawn, and rook to a2. This is how Anand defends, but now bishop to b5 with check. And now the problem is you cannot capture this bishop, because if the bishop is captured, then just queen to c4, and, well, you win the rook here on a2. So instead, after bishop to b5 check, we have the quick knight back to e2. now blocking this and offering a trade of queens. And now comes queen back to d6. So what do you play here? The queen wants to capture on h2, and then white's pretty much done for. So you have to prevent this. We have king to g1, but now, well, you have other problems, and that's rook captures on c2. And now there's a double attack on the knight on e2. So what do you play here? Knight to c3, but now comes bishop to d7. Now the bishop wants to come to g4, trade off, well, either by capturing on f3, or you want white to capture on g4, and then you will have a lot of pressure here. So here we have queen to e3, and now comes bishop to g4. As planned, we have bishop captures on g4, knight captures, and now this simply does not work for Anand, because here we have queen to e8 check, king to h7, and now queen to e4 check. Here Anand nicely connects this check with an attack on the knight and on the rook here. Problem is, after g6 you do not have a good move, because capturing on c2 just loses. Queen captures on h2 check, king f1, and now knight to e3 check picks up the queen on c2. So that most definitely was not a free rook. So after g6 we have queen to g4. This seems to be working, but there is a problem here, as there is one move that wins the game for Nikhil. So feel free to pause the video here and try to find this maneuver that takes down the former world champion Viswanathan Anand while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting either of the two checks, queen to c5 or queen to b6, if you found this, that means white is lost. Because here, after queen to c5 check, which was played in the game, you can't go king to f1 because this is just checkmate. You have to play king to h1, and now comes the fun part, and that is rook to c1 with check. We have knight to d1, and now another beautiful move. Queen captures on d5, attacking the knight with a double attack, but also attacking the rook here. And here, it was in this position on move 34 that Viswanathan Anand resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. But that is not all there is to this ending of the game. Problem is, Nikhil had only 13 seconds on the clock in this position, and Anand had almost 10 minutes, 9 minutes and some seconds. I don't know the exact amount. And if he wanted to win this, he could have just played some like h3. He could have played like h3, give up material. Let's say if queen captures here, then we don't care. We just play king h2. Next, we're going to bring the knight back into the game. And he could easily flag his opponent with who only had 9 seconds on the clock. But as our friend who suggested this game, Ketan Agrawal, says, Vishy sir showed the spirit of a true legend and resigned the game when he could have flagged his opponent. So that's the kind of a person Anand is. He did not want to win the game. His opponent outplayed him, and he wanted to congratulate him in proper manner. So really an incredible game, and when I first received this suggestion, I thought, okay, Anand playing against celebrities, it's just going to be, swift victories for him on all boards. And especially when I saw move 1 in this game after knight to f3 e5, I was like, what? Then I checked the database. It's called the Ross opening. Never heard of it. I tried checking why it's the Ross opening. I couldn't find it. So like I said, please do shed some light on this if you have vast knowledge in the comment section, so we can all improve it. But yeah, incredible stuff. Incredible how he was able to play such a brilliant game after this initial pawn sacrifice. He just played incredibly active chess, like Morphew would, and he all of a sudden he had an equal game, and then all of a sudden he had a winning position. So really just incredible stuff. Okay, Anand, of course, is playing a simultaneous exhibition. He's playing against multiple opponents, and well, it's even with all that, it's still amazing that he was able to play such a game, such an incredibly strong game with all the moves being, well, incredibly strong. So it's not odd, because there are people who quit chess when they were very young and well, just started doing something else, and they became incredibly successful in that. Much like the CEO of DeepMind, for example, Demis Hassabis, also was an incredible chess player, then just had to drop chess to be able to achieve all the other stuff. This could be the case here, because he topped at the rating of 2050, I believe. So who knows how strong he was actually, and if he still kept improving and playing secretly. But all in all, this was an incredibly impressive showing. by Nikhil Kamath here, India's youngest billionaire. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for suggesting it and also learning about the Ross opening. I imagine it will become very, very popular in online play as it really gives active play for black. I would like to thank Happy Birthday S. Paul, Avijit Banerjee, Tsanko Tsolov, Western Carpet Cleaning Incorporated, and Isaac Garuda for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of all the tournaments that we are following, checking up on your wonderful suggestions such as this one and whatever else happens in the world of chess. So thank you all. I will see you soon and have an excellent rest of your Sunday.